How do you define the word success? Welcome to the Relive the Moments podcast. I'm John Lim. Hi, welcome back to the Relive the Moments podcast. I'm John Lim, your host. Today's guest is a dedicated leader, strategic thinker, and a longtime force in the world of finance. Please welcome Andres, Managing Director at Goldman Sachs Asset Management. Since joining the firm in 2006, Andres has helped guide its external investing group and served as Deputy COO, bringing clarity and leadership to complex investment strategies. Before Goldman, he built his early career in capital markets at Andersen Consulting, now Accenture. He holds an engineering degree from RPI, a foundation that fuels his analytical mind and steady approach. Off the clock, he's a proud husband and father of two incredible daughters and part of a big, very big, loving extended family. Please welcome to the show, Andres.
Thank you, and thank you for the kind introduction. Thank you for the invitation. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm really excited to dig into your world and background and everything because it's very fascinating. But let's start out with a quick definition. How do you define success?
You know, it was an interesting thought process that I went through when I saw the question, right? Because I was trying to figure out, it's not the definition of the word, but what it means to me. And ultimately, I think it comes down to what is worth for you, what's the goal that you have, and how do you measure that? So if you're able to attain that goal and you're able to measure that, then that's success. Now, the reason why I think about it that way is because success is different for different people. And you can do the very same exact thing, and for you it could mean one thing, for me it could be something else. So as long as you use your own barometer to figure out what's worth measuring and measuring it, I think that's success.
All right, so what is your barometer, your personal barometer? Mm-hmm. What is that?
So personally, I love my family. My life revolves around my family. That's the center of my ecosystem, if you will. So for me, success is being able to be a good a citizen of that family, if you will, be able to provide the love that I receive from them and be able to do anything and everything to be happy within that ecosystem and to make them happy. So it's all about my family.
Okay, so the barometer is family. Then how do you judge on a weekly, monthly, listen, you're a finance guy, so it might even be daily, but how do you judge yourself on an overall annual basis of how successful you are, being the barometer, being the family?
How much time I spend with them. And I said them as I'm talking about all of them. Of course, my immediate family. So my daughters and my wife, obviously, that's my nucleus. But I do have a very large family. I was born in Colombia, so I spend a lot of time on the phone with my mom, who's still in Colombia. Well, who moved back to Colombia. My dad, my brothers, my siblings. So I do every now and again look back and say, well, have I really spent time, speaking with them? A lot of my aunts are still alive, which is great. I don't talk to them that often, but I do, like for their birthday, I do in Mother's Day, for instance, I do make the point to send a message to pick up the phone and talk to them. So it's more about, have I spent enough time reaching out to them, spending time with them, and what's the quality? Because the other thing is, like, you can say you're spending time, but if you're sitting in the same room, you're on your phone, I'm on my phone, that's really not spending time. That's just being physically in the same place, but it's not the same thing. So it's the quality of the interaction and how frequent it is, and am I keeping up with investing into a family because they give back to me regardless. So my question is, am I putting in enough to be able to be worthy of what they give back to me?
I like how you said a citizen of the family, right? So the family is like its own country, its own unit, and you're just a citizen of it. And on top of that, investing inside the family, right? Investing by meaning present time,
right,
not just physical time. And that's a big difference, I think, between growing up first-generation American versus being American, because we would judge the barometer of success by how many nights we did not stay in the doghouse, okay, right, or how little arguments we've had from our wife in that case. But yeah, it's fascinating that you look at it that way, that the family is basically its own country, right? Has its own currency, and you have to consistently invest in the family, okay, to receive the rewards that a family has and gives. So
right, yeah, because you shouldn't take it for granted. I mean, of course, like my grandparents and my aunts, like they would always love me. I could be the worst person in the world. They will always be loved, but you got to give back. I mean, you got to be able to give back to them. The love that they give you, you got to invest into it.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk a little bit about where you came from, because you mentioned it, and where you are today, because then we'll dive deep into different moments of your life. So You were born in Colombia.
I was born and raised in Colombia, yes. Small
Okay, so
city,
not first generation American. My apologies for that. He is actually not first generation American.
I'm a guest of this country, yeah. So I was born and raised in Colombia up until I was about 14. So we moved to New York. Beautiful family. The bulk of it is still down in Colombia. I like to say that I'm really lucky because I was in the nexus of two. One side of my family was extremely poor, like third world country poor. The other side was very wealthy. I was sort of in the nexus of both. And I was able to gain what I think was sort of the best of both worlds. What I mean by that is the side of the family that was really poor, like they were really happy because they were able to appreciate the smallest things in life. So for them and for us at that point, having a small meal and just hanging out, putting on some music, and that was it. You spend entire afternoons just hanging out and laughing and just having fun. So they were genuinely happy. Now, for them, though, the education, the formal education that is going to college was not a thing because in Colombia at that point in time, you either had money or you didn't. And if you didn't, it was very difficult to get into college. Even if you graduated, you had to know someone who knew someone to get a connection to get a job. So it was not worth the investment of time and effort to do through all that to end up, driving a taxi cab because you couldn't get a job. So for them, education was not, at least the formal education that is, because extremely bright, entrepreneurial, they figure things out, and they were really happy.
All right, what year, what decade is this?
I was born in 79, so 70s and 80s.
All right,
so the bulk of the 80s.
The bulk of the 80s, you have one side of the family. And I always tell people, like, I didn't grow up third world country poor, right? And I always say I grew up poor, not super poor, where we had food stamps and humble beginnings like some others, and maybe obviously not as bad as others had it. But the one thing that I'd always give my parents credit for, and you just said it, is like, we never felt poor. We never felt poor, okay, until you knew what poverty was. And they were always happy. And we always had family functions and family events and come together, things that money, right, just you didn't need to buy.
That's right.
So you have that side of the world.
Yeah, and
okay?
it's extremely happy. So, and then on the other side of the family, relatively wealthy, well off, but miserable. I would hate going there because I would go to my aunt's house. It was a beautiful home, but it was a museum. I couldn't do anything. So you go there, it's like you got to sit in the corner. You can't touch anything. You tell that to a 5-year-old, and my cousin and my brother like were sitting there like being miserable, and then they were just overall they were just not happy because there was always something they didn't have. It was more about not appreciating what you do have, but appreciating what you don't have. So it was always about that, and it was always about, well, what are we going to do for this and that? I hated it. The one thing though that I did get from that side of the family was, and it was ingrained in me. It was not by choice. I was going to be an engineer, and it was not a question about if you're going to go to college. It's just where you're going to go. So formal education was something that was ingrained into my brain from day one. And furthermore, that I was going to be an engineer because my grandfather was an engineer, his brothers were engineers, and that was it. So when I was growing up, it was not even a question. It was just that's the thing. So those were the two worlds, if you will, that I grew up on, and different experiences. And I mean, of course, that shapes you and shaped me to where I am now. But I got to tell you, all things being equal, the other side of the family, that's where I had a lot of fun. I spent the bulk of my time with my cousins and growing up and learning about life just by.
Well, the beauty is, man, you had rich dad, poor dad in the same growing up. You didn't have to choose like, hey, let me follow the rich dad mentality against the poor dad mentality or that scenario. For those who are not familiar with the book, it's basically it's investing. It's, hey, one is about saving so you can buy something, and the other is like, hey, just invest. So then it buys something for you, and you got the best of both worlds, man. You got to learn how to grow up and be an everyday human, okay? Have fun, like you said, break things, not just sit there on the couch. I was laughing when you told that story because in the 80s, right? You and I are about the same age. I was born in '78, and in the 80s, we went to my aunt's house, okay? I guess it was my great aunt, it was my grandmother's sister. And they had no money either. They lived in a very small apartment in an Italian neighborhood. But I remember going there, and they had the couch with the plastic on it.
With the plastic covers.
Right,
Yes, exactly,
right. It was a brand new couch there for the plastic on it. And I remember in the summertime, where if I fell asleep on the couch, my face was stuck to the plastic, and you had to get up because they didn't want to ruin the couch.
That's right, yeah. And that's exactly, you sit there for like 20 minutes, and like, of course, you were wearing shorts, and you couldn't get up because you got stuck to it.
Yeah, the plastic. Oh, man, that's hilarious. Yeah, that was like the 80s trick for both rich and poor people. Like, okay,
that's right.
I don't want to ruin this brand new couch. So the Italians always covered it in plastic.
Yeah.
All right.
So these are Colombians. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. Oh man, that's hilarious. Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I totally agree. Like, you've been to my house. I'm lucky to have a beautiful home. And when I got it right before COVID, it was. I mean, I always say the home found me, not I found the home. But it's meant for a family.
Right.
Like, yeah, sure, I have some nice things in certain places, but that's out of reach where the kids can't break it. Like, they should run around, they should play, they should
enjoy
break
life.
things.
Yes.
Like,
Exactly.
you gotta be a kid.
Yeah.
Because when you can become an adult like us, like, life's hard, and we just find different ways to become kids. So, like,
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
all right. So now let's stay with the younger years. Okay, so you have this one side of the family. Is that your dad's side or your mom's side?
My dad's side.
Okay, so your dad's side is the poverty side.
Yes.
Okay, and then your mom's side is the wealthy side.
Yes.
All right. Now they want you to be an engineer.
Yes.
Okay. But at 14, you moved out of Colombia and came to America.
So exactly. So I moved to Portchester. So I went to Portchester High School. I started my high school career then. I didn't know much about English. I still don't. I'm still learning the language. So hopefully in a couple of years I'll master the thing. So math.
Dude, your English is better than my English, man. I mean, come on. Let's not kid ourselves here.
So math, of course, was the thing, math and science, right? Because you don't really need to speak English, because so you know it and you're able to use the math language, if you will. So and that was the strongest subjects that I always had through my whole life. So I excelled. So that was the thing that I knew how to do really well. At some point, I was taking like AP calculus, like in 9th or 10th grade, I think. So anyway, so as I'm doing that, one of my teachers, gave me this medal, like the Rensselaer medal. I didn't even know what it was. I'm like, oh, thank you. Thank you, I guess. Like, what does this mean? I couldn't even pronounce the thing. So anyway, so I started looking into it. It turns out there was an engineering school, which again, I had never heard of. Didn't even know what it was. It's a small school in upstate New York. Actually happens to be the first engineering school to grant formal engineering degrees in the U.S.
What's the name of the school?
Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute.
Okay.
RPI.
Okay.
So anyway, so the reason why I'm telling the story is because I had no idea what it was. Now, fast forward to my senior year, and I'm applying to MIT and to Princeton, a bunch of different places, Carnegie Mellon, Johns Hopkins, and a couple others. And then I asked my grandfather, I was like, listen, I got this RPI thing. Like, do you know what that is? He was like, of course I do. So he tells me this story, how his favorite textbook when he was in college was actually written by RPI professor. So he tells me, like, look, if you choose between RPI and Princeton or even MIT, like, if you want to be a true engineer, you should go to RPI. Then I was sold. I'm like, well, my grandfather's saying that. Like,
right.
is as great as an endorsement as it gets. So that's how I ended up going to RPI, which I'm hoping I'm not going too fast. But that was my nexus to the engineering school, again, because engineering, that was the thing. I was going to be an engineer. And now that's how I got to RPI.
Okay. So now before we get to the RPI stuff, okay. So at that point, you're about 18 years old.
Yes.
You've gone from 14 years in Colombia, living real third world poverty and third world wealthiness. Okay, a lot different than America's wealthy and poverty
Very
completely,
different.
right?
Yes.
And then you get to come here to Portchester. You excel in school. We'll get back to the calculus thing in a moment, but you excel in school. Shaping you at this point, okay? Because you said something very interesting, that your grandfather gave an endorsement to a school because of a textbook, and that was it. MIT, Princeton,
I didn't get into
Mellon.
MIT, by the way, so they made that choice for me. But
they helped move it along, right?
Exactly.
Okay, but the first set of schools you named is what our kids would be like. Okay, listen, hey, he's applying to MIT and Carnegie Mellon and Princeton. He must be really, really smart to even apply to those schools and think they have a chance to get in. When you were younger, between these first 18 years, who is one of the most influential people in your life that you feel helped shape you to where you are today?
I think a lot of people, but I would start maybe with my grandmothers. So, well, my mother, first of all, because my mom, she was single, because we got divorced from my dad at an early age. So she was always working. She was always doing stuff. She was always taking care of us. She was always making sure that we didn't have to worry about anything. So the way that I think about working and taking care of my family, a lot of it comes from my mother and my grandmother and my great-grandmother. I had the benefit of actually also at some point living with both my grandmother and my great-grandmother.
All right, so you got strong women in there.
Strong women in my life, exactly. So I cannot, I could be here all day telling you how great they are, because they really are amazing people. And, there were different types of love, like your mom, of course, taking care of you, but your grandmother, I could do no wrong. And then my great-grandmother, I could do no wrong, square or cube, because I could do whatever, and then the love was there. But But it was just that intensity, that love of family, which a lot of it comes from that, and it just, enjoying life, learning things, and moving on.
All right, so I want you to pick one of the three, and I want you to think of a moment, all right, because we're going to relive this moment. The idea of the Relive the Moments podcast is to get kind of deep and pick someone that was influential in your early years, all right? There's 3 stages of your early years that basically shape you as a human. It's the first 7 to 8, then the next 7 to 8, the next 7 to 8, depends on how much you mature. And the first 7 or 8, right, forms you. You can't change those things. Okay, you can go as much therapy as you want. You can't change them. You can just build tools to help you navigate what you got through. The next one you can actually change. So the second stage of your kind of molding as a human, you can change it. Really, really hard to change. You can change it. And then the last ones, when you're 14 and you're in the teenage years to the rest, those ones can be remolded and reprogrammed, no problem whatsoever, right? In this computer that we call the brain and humanity. So pick one of those 3 strong women, and let's relive one of the moments when you were a child or a young adult that really stuck with you, that shaped you.
All right, so maybe my great-grandmother, so my mom's grandmother. So she, one day, she asked me to go with her to the market. I must have been maybe like 7 or 8, around that age. So, relatively young. So we're at the market, and we, got a couple bags. We're buying groceries and whatever else. And this guy comes out and takes out a knife. And obviously, he wants her purse or whatever. I'm terrified. I first time I see a knife, I don't know what to do. I could think we're gonna die. I was like, it was one of the most terrifying moments of my life. My grandmother, who's, I don't know, like probably 5 feet at most, tiny little woman, she looks at the guy, like stares him down and says, "You want this bag? Come and get this bag," or something along those lines. I'm like begging her. It's like, just give it the bag. Like, who cares? Just give it the bag. He has a knife. She holds my hand and says, like, "I got this. Just stand there. Don't do anything else." Looks at the guy again. "You want my bag? Come and get it." So the guy, is like, "Lady, I have a knife. Do you understand what I'm trying to do here?"
Around, yeah.
And then he goes, "Come and get it." He goes, "Get any closer. I'm going to take that knife. I'm going to do to you what you're thinking about that you're not going to do, but that you're thinking about doing to me. Up to you." And she's just standing there.
Straight cold face, ready to go.
Cold face. He's not even shaking, nothing. I'm the one shaking. I'm about to, wet my pants.
Yeah,
the guy kind of looks at her, and then she gave her this look. Like the guy was terrified, and he just walks away. So over the years, I go back to that moment because I think that was one of the times, first of all, one of the first few times that I remember being scared for my life.
Right. How old is your great-grandma at this point?
I don't know. It's 60, 70 maybe? I don't know.
All right. So, she's 70 years old.
Yes.
With her great-grandchild holding on.
Yeah.
Then has to fend off this guy with the knife if he attacks with one hand. Like
Exactly. I mean, he didn't even have to use the knife. All he had to do was like push it out of the way. Like that was it. Or even just grab the bag and just run away.
Yeah.
So first of all, I remember that. And the second is just in times when I'm afraid for whatever reason, like I always go back to that and say, there's got to be something inside of me that enables you to understand what's going on and tell the thing, "Hey, come and get it. You want this thing? Come and get it."
Yeah. I mean, that story gives me goosebumps. Like I love that story, right? The first time that I was ever in a situation that was dangerous, right? And I always thought I was the youngest until I met you. And I think we have that a lot in common. A lot of the stories that we talked about at dinner is like, okay, like I was 8 years old when I got mugged, right? Which was, who mugs an 8-year-old kid? And then now I'm listening to the story of like, yeah, well, I was 8 years old when my great-grandma almost got mugged, and they pulled out a knife. Yeah, well, my guys didn't have a knife. They just choked me up and took my $2. Yeah, well, grandma said, come and get it. And visualizing that as, okay, as a young person listening to this podcast, all right, who thinks that you can do anything, because back when I was in my 20s, no problem, man. I'll take a guy on with a knife. Invincible, fine. But as a dad, my daughter, Madeline. Madeline is 8 years old. She'll be 9. I can't even imagine, like, having to defend myself and her while holding her, right? Like, okay, listen, a guy pulls out a knife and I'll give him whatever he wants, fine. But if a guy came to attack me and I had to defend her, I'm constantly thinking of, like, how do I attack him while holding her? And to think about, like, grandma just holding your hand like, you want the bag? Come get it. Exactly. What? Grandma? Exactly. What? Like, God bless your grandma.
Yeah,
Your great grandma. I mean, what's her name?
Aurora.
Aurora. Okay.
We used to call it Lola.
Lola.
Yeah.
That's one of the most gangster stories that I've ever heard. Is crazy. Yeah. Huh. Okay, so she gave you. I mean, you didn't have a choice, right? She didn't have a choice, but that moment that we just relived gave you the strength to arguably get through any fear you've had.
That's right.
Because nothing could have been nothing you're facing now from the 18 on, right, as we get to the adult years, could be as worse as an 8-year-old child with a guy holding a knife there.
And the funny part is, like, I don't even know she had like $2 in her purse to begin with.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the guy. But,
Yeah. Man, I can only imagine. Like, that's just. By the way, when I got mugged at 8, I had $2 in my pocket, in my socks, not in my pockets. Okay, because I was wearing like socks. I was going to play basketball. I was coming from the store, walking up the back of the park, and they basically stole $2. I mean, listen, it was the 80s. I mean, $2 today might be like 30, right? 50 with this inflation in the market, but still, like, it's just crazy. All right, I'm stuck. I'm Claudio, man. I'm in this like, and Claudio knows, and you know, right? I could talk for days.
Yeah,
it's making me speechless is not an easy thing to do. All right, but I'm just thinking of my grandma and thinking of your grandma, like, and because my grandma was the most influential woman in my life as well, right? Like, my mom's amazing. She did everything she could do with all the kids we had and the poverty. But my grandmother was the one who shaped me and made me an entrepreneur. And I'm just thinking, like, I don't know if they make grandmas these days like they used to back then, because most of the grandmas, I mean, in your case, your grandmother never was an immigrant, right? In my case, my grandmother was basically first generation. And I think that immigrant migration into the country, right, the strength of other countries and the culture was such a different way than modern day 4, 5, 6 generation grandmas today,
right?
Because America was still being forged
Exactly.
at the time that's going on. So,
yeah, no, it's very different for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, like they say, it's a different generation. I mean, that is the case.
Right. Right. Which is, I think, is so important when you think about in today's society about immigration. And we are definitely not a political podcast whatsoever, nor will we touch it. I can't even spell political, right? Red, blue, black, whatever. But I speak human. And when you think about studying humans, so the point about grandmas, like the grandmas that came to America, all right, who weren't born here, they came with a different mentality, right? They came with the level of gratitude that I think most humans today, this is not limited to Americans, and I love America, okay? It's still the greatest country in the world to me. It's given me so many opportunities. But most humans today, we lack gratitude as a human element, right? It should be our sixth sense is gratitude.
It should be, exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of entitlement. There's a lot of, but you're right. There's a lack of gratitude. It's a big problem.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the things that immigrants have brought to America and continue to bring to America, right? And that forging in the melting pot, as we call ourselves, is different levels of gratitude, because you leave a third world country, as you said in Colombia, right? Whether you're wealthy or not wealthy, you have both sides of that. You come to America, and you automatically are at a different level of wow, I never had this, right? No one gave me a medal in school when I was in Colombia, no matter how good at math I was. Now I'm getting a medal just because I did good on the test, right? Like, can I take this medal and melt it down? Is it like one I have to wear? Like, what does this medal do? Yeah. All right, so that's fascinating. All right, so now let's go. Here we are. We're going to go to RPI.
Yeah.
All right. Which you're going to be an engineer.
I'm going to be an engineer, yes.
Yeah. What kind of engineer are you going to be?
At that point in time, a civil engineer. So civil engineers, they design highways, buildings, houses, structures. Because that's what I think everybody in my family, they were all civil engineers.
Okay.
So that was the initial plan.
All right. So let's kind of recap for the audience. All right. So you are an immigrant. You come here. You basically go right to high school.
That's right.
Okay.
Yes.
You go right to high school. You can barely speak English. You happen to be good at math. Okay. Which I was really good at math when I was a kid. Actually, I laughed about the calculus. I want to come back to that. Where calculus was the first class I took that all of a sudden I had a problem with math. I sat this one class. I sat in and I did the work, and it took me like 3 hours to figure out this problem. Okay, and it's the longest problem it ever took me to figure out in math, because math just numbers came natural to me. Right, language didn't, numbers did, and at the end I couldn't get the right answer. So I go to the teacher. I'm like, all right, listen, I tap out. All right, I've been here for basically 3 hours. I'm tapping out right now. What's the answer? All right, because I was a stubborn kid. I know I can get the answer. What's the answer? She goes, well, the answer is there is no real answer. What? What'd you just say? This is not Italian class. This is math. It's math, okay? 1 + 1 is 2. It's finite. No. In calculus, okay, you can just come close enough to the answer. Like,
Yeah, it could be exactly.
close enough? What's close enough?
That's the math's supposed to be exact,
Right.
yeah.
Okay. And that's right there. I was like, that's it. Okay. It has to do with math for the future. I don't trust math anymore. Right. I don't trust math. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I could see that happening, of course.
Yeah.
That
was my calculus. I don't trust math story.
Yeah.
All right. So now you go on and you go to RPI to become a civil engineer.
Yes. And actually, a bit of a tangent here, just because. So my oldest daughter is about to go to college. It starts in about a month. So we're talking about the setting out for the room, and they've been ordering things for ages, and like the drop off is going to be like this experience, or like building the bed and a bunch of different things, and it's going to be like a multi-day event. When I got dropped off, like I literally just got dropped off, I hugged my mom and I said goodbye, and then the only thing I brought was sheets and a pillow. That was it. And whatever, I had a suitcase.
Suitcase, yeah, some clothes.
So I tell my daughter, like, that was my experience. Like, yours is going to be like, first of all, realize you're going into a dorm. You're not going into a house. So all these things you're buying, probably like 75% of they've done more, is going to have to be taken somewhere else. Sorry, I apologize. A bit of a tangent, but I just that's like keep telling her, because it was like, that was my experience. Literally, my mom dropped me off. I gave her a hug. She cried a little bit. Here's your pillow, and here's your suitcase, and
pillow, sheets, and clothes, and good luck.
Yeah.
Right. All right. And now your daughter's going. Okay.
Yes.
So our kids go to the same school. Your daughter's going, and you got a U-Haul truck. Is basically what you're saying.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
Listen, they didn't have pimp my dorm room when you were going to college, right? Or
well, maybe they did. I just didn't know about it, but I don't know. Who knows? Who knows?
No. Yeah. Listen, back then, school was about school.
Exactly.
It was about school. It was a place to go to move on. Today, school is like I think about these kids. I mean, listen, in our town, we have a strong Michigan following. Okay, sure. Michigan is like the
that and Syracuse, the two.
Right, Michigan and Syracuse are like the alumni of the town. Yeah. Okay, and you see like the kids. Okay, they're going to Michigan and they're so happy about it, or they're showing all the pictures of the dorm and the rest. Like, hey man, why are you going to Michigan? Like, what are you studying? I'm going there because my dad went there. Right. Yep, I got it. And it's a cool party school, and I'm gonna study some stuff and learn some stuff, and it's crazy. Yeah. College for these kids, like I have Sebastian is 1 year behind your daughter,
right?
So, but college, I think this is the first time that college is going to completely change, right? So staying on a quick tangent before we get back to your life, like with AI, college is going to completely change.
Yep, I would agree.
Right, the number one reason, other than like you're going to be a doctor, or right, you're going to be an engineer, maybe some of the actual professions that you need college for. The number one reason to go to college is to build the connections.
Yeah, I would agree.
Right, and that's where I think these young kids, and I feel very bad right now for the kids who are graduating college. And the kids who are going into college, we might have a chance independently, not with you or I doing it for our kids and pushing them that way, chance independently for those kids to graduate in a world where they're ready for it.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're in that rapid change right now. Like, this is changing so fast. You can't even plan a curriculum around what to do, because you look at the next day and it's like trading currencies, right? Like, today's a price, tomorrow's a price, different countries, it affects whatever. AI is like, today's a good thing and this one's great. Now this one sucks and this one's great, and use this one use that one. Yeah. So it's fascinating.
It is fascinating. Yeah. Look, it's exciting for them, because things are going to be different. It's really all about who embraces change and who embraces how different things are going to shape up.
Yeah. So are you pushing her to be an engineer?
I lost that battle a long time ago. I tried, but she had a similar math. It's not my thing. So no.
Yeah.
I tried, but no.
Okay.
And I also, was competing, upstate New York, which is where RPI is, versus, LA.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
You get an idea as to where she's going now.
Yeah. Especially because I know your family, and I know you got family out there. So yeah. For her, it's all right. Listen, my youngest son wants to go to California. I'm like, go.
Yeah,
Just go. I don't care where you go. Just go,
yeah.
man. Live something different.
Yeah.
All right. So now you're in RPI. Now you're becoming an engineer. Did you graduate as an engineer?
I did, yes.
Okay.
It's just a different type of engineer. So when I was, I think my junior year, I was looking for an internship. I ended up getting an internship with Intel, which is the computer microchip company. So I went to the West Coast, and I really liked it. So that's how I got into moving away from civil engineering to industrial engineering. Still engineering nonetheless, but different application to it.
All right. So listen, we're gonna throw this thing into a loop because today, all right, next year is your 20th anniversary at Goldman Sachs.
Right. Yeah.
Right, it's 20 years, okay, with the same corporation. Which, by the way, that alone is successful, okay, because it's a lost art. I don't know that people would be 20 years in the same corporation anymore. And for those of you who don't know Goldman Sachs, it's a highly competitive company. Which, if you're really good, your worry is not being fired. Goldman doesn't worry about firing the good people. They worry about the good people being poached by everybody else, right? It's like a sports team in the New York City finance sector. Like, all right, man, he's really, really good. All right, J.P. Morgan, let's call him up. Hey, listen, what are you making $1 million? And a bonus is 5. Hey, we'll pay you 2, and we'll bonus you 10. Like, I don't know anyone who's been at Goldman for almost 20 years who hasn't like, okay, I left and I came back maybe, or I started something new and I came back. You've been there almost 20 years.
Right.
How in the world did you go from building houses, civil engineering, to then industrial engineering with microchips and so forth, to then being a financial genius?
Well, I wouldn't say I wouldn't go as far as genius, but I ultimately, when I was about to graduate from college, the initial plan was to go back to Intel out on the West Coast, but my family was here in Westchester, so I wanted to stay in New York. Didn't know what I wanted to do really, so I went into consulting because I figured, learn a couple things, and then at some point I'll figure out what I want to grow up and do what I want to grow up, and hopefully I'll figure out. So that's how I started in finance. So just because I was based out of New York, most of my clients at that point in time were financial services, capital markets. So ultimately, that's how I came to the firm, and ultimately the engineering training, all the math and all the problem solving, and figuring out how to do this thing, you moves that thing, and the math is math at the end of the day, and it's just different inputs, but way of looking at things is pretty similar, and ultimately that's how I got to this path. And then over the years, it's just been more about as life evolves. Because obviously, as you mentioned, I'm married, I have 2 daughters, and life is different when you're single versus when you're married, and when you have 2 kids who 1 and 3 versus 2 kids who are 16 and 18. So your life evolves, and you evolve with it. And I think ultimately my longevity at the firm has been a combination of being in a place that has grown significantly since I joined. So by definition, the growth has created opportunities, and I was there, and I was able to take advantage of some of the opportunities. Sometimes I knocked on the door because I wanted it. Sometimes I was tapped on the shoulder to do a combination of both. But ultimately that, and then being able to evolve personally as evolving my career.
Well, you say you were a consultant.
Yes.
And then that's how you got to finance. What was an engineer consultant? What were you consulting?
Well, so I was, at that point in time, just to give an example, at that point in time, we, J.P. Morgan had just merged with Chase. So one of the projects that I was working on is literally just the synergies between there were some places like obviously Chase didn't have investment banking. So that was kind of easy. So it was just more of a systems connection, same email thing, right? But there was others where there was some overlap, right? So figuring out, well, what systems are we going to use? Like you have this HR system, you got that HR system. Which one are we going to pick and how are we going to go? So things like that. So at that point in time, it was more about the engineering side of things, more like the computer side, more of the computer systems, processes.
Yep.
Things like that.
All right, so it's still tying back to your engineering background of problem solving and Intel with chips, and then finance, and now you're in the finance sector. Right. So how did you navigate successfully 20 years? And you said, okay, some doors I tapped on, sometimes I got tapped. I know you definitely got recruited to leave Goldman Sachs at times, right? From internal promotions to external leaving. How did you successfully navigate a environment that is so cutthroat, that is so fast-paced and burns out many humans, okay, for 20 years?
A combination of things. One is I was lucky enough to have a good management team. So, the people who I work with, reported to, who always had very client-centric, obviously, because everything we do is client-centric. So very smart, very commercial, very what's the next thing we need to do. But by doing that, they also look after me. So I trusted them to the point where all right, whatever you need me to do, head down, I'm going to do my work.
But is that the same team that you've had since 2006?
For a long time, yes. Actually, the number of them actually have been working with them the entire time.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you started right into the group that you're in now, the external investing group.
Yes.
All right. That's a group under the umbrella of Goldman Sachs.
Correct.
That group you basically started at right or whatever the group was back
Yeah,
then.
exactly.
You
So it's
started
like
at 2006.
So yeah, so I think it's
Okay.
the down longevity of that group. Because again, at the end of the day, like you said, it's intense. There's a lot of work. Getting on planes, traveling all the world, dealing with issues, dealing with things. So I was able to do that by virtue of knowing that, look, I'm gonna get hit down. I don't need to worry about. Well, I kind of had to, but in the back of my mind, I worry about my career because I know as long as I do a good job, things will happen. So I was lucky enough to be able to have a management team where that was the case. Now, I say I'm lucky enough because I also know a lot of my colleagues who were not in the same situation and they were head down doing the work, but because they were not worried about their career, then a lot of things didn't come their way.
Right.
So it's again, I do count myself as being really lucky as having that opportunity and having the sponsorship or whatever you want to call it of a management team who care about, appreciated my contributions, they appreciated the talent, and their way to be able to encourage that was by taking care of me.
Right. Which listen, some people have mentors, some people have teams, some people have dads, right? Moms. Like, we all have different people that we lean back to. I never had a mentor. I wish I did, actually, because it wouldn't have taken me so long to get to where I am. And I'm not finished, so I have a long way to go. But I would have got there quicker if I had someone I can lean on and have that stuff for it. So in those 20 years, right, or maybe even before, right, before Goldman, from college to Goldman, right, and the couple of careers you've had, in the adult aspect of your life, who's a person you give credit to that has helped you really navigate those waters? You mentioned a team, but is there a person, all right, in your adult life that you've leaned on to help you navigate those treacherous waters? I mean, Goldman Sachs and New York City finance is really treacherous waters.
Yeah, like I would say, going back to family. So I mean, the funny thing is, like when I tried to explain to my family what consulting was, like I remember, like not my great grandmother, but my grandmother gave me something for Christmas, like, oh, put it on your desk. So I'm like, oh, grandma, yeah, but I don't really have a desk because as a consultant, you go to your client site sometimes and it's just whatever.
I got a messenger bag.
It's just whatever open space there is. You don't really have a desk. So trying to explain that to him, but at the end of the day, like being able to go back to the core values of your family and what it is that it entails to hustle, to work hard, and do all those different things. But also, I built a really good relationships with a couple of folks from the consulting side. And so we sort of navigated it together, right? Because we all had joined at the same time. We were all trying to figure out, what do you want to live in New York City? Like, what kind of project you're going to be on? You pick up the phones, the least thing they asked me to do is, I have no idea what that is. Can you help me out? So I think it was a really, about 5 or 6 of us, like that was the core of the people that I knew, and they would sort of navigated things throughout the years, which was extremely helpful because, again, we were on the same boat. We just moved to New York City. We just, joined a consultant firm. We're being asked to do one thing, being asked to get on planes. Like, at the beginning, I was like, how do I make a reservation? Or how do I say, oh, by the way, sign up for all the, all the travel programs because you want to start, getting points. You want to be able to, get status and things like that, which I wouldn't even thought about it. But it was my friend Jamie. He was like, have you done that? I'm like, no, why? I was like, well, do it now. And of course, within 2-3 months, now you have status in American Airlines. So now you get the ability to go into the lounge and be able to get, upgraded. So I would say it's a combination of those. And then throughout the years, you meet people who, you click with them, right? You either at a professional level, personal level, and you have similar experiences, similar values, similar goals, similar places in life that you are, and you kind of navigate into the next one and you bring it all together.
So you've gone
it definitely takes a village for sure.
Right, it takes a village. I mean, you've been pretty lucky to get implanted to the right villages, the consulting village, the Goldman Sachs. Like, you've been basically blessed to have that kind of like,
absolutely.
I'm putting the right village side of it. Yeah. All right, but you started 2006. So you've gone through 2 major financial crises. I mean, probably the 2 biggest ones since the Great Depression that we could ever think about. You've gone through those and COVID. Okay, so we basically the first early part of this millennium is this century. I mean, this century and millennium is treacherous.
Yeah.
And what was one of the moments there that was really scary for you, right? Like one of the moments that you didn't know if you were going to make it where you were.
Sort of the early days of the financial crisis, as things were getting worse and things were happening, like, Lehman and then the others. So at that point in time, I had literally just gotten married like a year before. I just bought the first apartment. Our daughter was on her way. So the calculus there was very different. So here's what I mean by that. So maybe stepping back a little bit. So my first crisis review was actually 9/11. Because 9/11 was 2 years after I graduated from college, and I had just finished an assignment, and I was in the bullpen, what they call the bullpen in the consulting firm, which is, you show up and then You sit there until somebody asks you to come and join a project, basically.
Right.
Sitting there, like, 20, 25 people, and over the matter of about a week and a half, it was 25, then 10, all the way down to like 3. Because at that point in time, there was, especially in New York City, there was a lot of uncertainty about the economy, how things were going to happen. None of the clients, again, being in New York City, everybody was impacted by it, so nobody was doing anything new. 70 people lose their jobs, the 3 of us are left. Now I'm thinking like, well, if I lose my job, it would suck, of course, right? But I'm 2 years out of college. I mean, what do I care? I'll go back to grad school, maybe business school, travel the world, who knows? So I wasn't really worried, to be honest. Now, I share that story because now fast forward to financial crisis, like the calculus was very different. Just bought an apartment, I just got married, I'm about to have a daughter. So
the variables change things, right? The variables change things, yeah.
So now I'm like, well, if something happens, it's a big, big deal. Right, so that was kind of the scariest thing because we didn't know, like we would go home for the weekend not knowing literally if we had a job on Monday. So Sunday evening was the most stressful for me because then that's when the Asian markets open. So if anything was going to be announced, it would be right before that happened. So Sunday night, like the Lehman thing, all those things were announced Sunday evening. And so I'm there watching TV, looking at the news, just waiting to see what my life may be the next day. So that was pretty scary just because, again, the dynamics of the family where we were at that point in time. Mm-hmm. Literally so not knowing.
Who'd you lean on those Sunday evenings?
My wife. Which was kind of in a cover way. This is what I mean by that. Because I also, she's just, she's pregnant. She's about to have a daughter. Like, I don't want to freak her out.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to lean on her, but in a way that doesn't convey that I'm freaking out, which is kind of weird, right? Because I wasn't being open, really, because I wasn't, hey, listen, I'm looking at the news because I'm seeing what's going to happen tomorrow. But it was just more about like just being with her, like being next to her, being in a new apartment, like getting ready for Sophia to be born. And so that's what gave me strength.
All right, listen, I know your wife. She's an amazing woman. And yeah, well, listen, women are stronger than men.
Oh, yeah.
In those cases. Like we could talk about physical strength, sure, fine. But when it comes down to like the emotional strength, no matter how well you built yourself or how much muscle you have or how successful you are, at the end of the day, okay, that little boy comes in. We're still scared. We're just too afraid to share it with somebody because we were taught that you can't share that. You can't be that vulnerable.
That's right.
All right. It wasn't until later on in life that I learned that vulnerability equals power. All right.
That's right. Yeah.
It equals power. I always go back to that Eminem scene in 8 Mile where he says the rap song and goes through it and it's okay. Tell these people something they don't know about me. And Papa Doc couldn't say anything because he sucked the power out of him in that scenario, being truly, truly vulnerable. So I want to revisit that moment. I want to go back and relive the moment of it's Sunday night. Okay, Lehman has already crashed. All right, so for those young kids that are watching this podcast or listening, the world for us adults is over. Okay, this is the first time this has happened in the history of America. The Great Depression was the Great Depression, but we basically rebuilt our world on this mortgage solution that you can never go broke. It's the safest investment in the history of the world, mortgages, okay? And then all of a sudden, it's over. Banks are losing, banks are out, Lehman goes, your money might not even be worth anything anymore. You might not be able to get your money. Right. For the first time ever, in my life at least, it's when America became like a third world country. Can you go to the ATM and get money out? Yeah. I think so. Yes, I'm sure. I'm going to try it. But in other countries, when that banking financial system crashes, you can't go to the ATM and get money. We've all seen those videos of people throwing stuff. Where's my money? Where's my money? Like I gave it to you. No. So
not there anymore. Yeah.
Right, it's gone. So Lehman's gone. It's Sunday night. Your wife is pregnant. Okay, you're in the apartment. You own the apartment. Give me one of those scary Sunday nights and relive it, and tell me how your lovely wife got you through it.
I think they're very similar, but I guess just one of the many where, again, Asian market's about to open. There's conversations about, Wachovia merging with this, with the other. And so that's when it becomes real, because that's just, it could happen. Because after Lehman happened, then, it could happen to anybody.
Right.
I mean, that was the thing. Like, then it's the black swan thing. Like, there are such things as black swans, right?
Right. Gloves off. Gloves off. So, yeah.
And on top of that, of course, I still need to do work, right? Because our clients need us. There's a million things that we need to do. So I'm still doing work. I'm doing all this. And just more like just one night, she just made dinner and she just sits there and she's like, let's just have dinner. And we just sat there and we had the meal and we just enjoyed it. And it was more about, okay, well, Sophia's room, are we going to paint it this way? We had already painted it, but it was like, and it just became about the three of us.
Right.
And we were like in this bubble, like anything, like nothing else mattered.
She normalized it. She normalized the moment by just being her, making a beautiful meal, talking about the baby, what's to come. Like,
That's right.
TV, no. Like, she basically puts you in the present moment.
Yeah,
Like, we're
that's
here.
right, exactly. This is what matters. And yeah, I mean, it could happen. And if it happens, we'll figure out.
Right. It's so funny because depression is about the past, anxiety is about the future, right? In the present moment, and it's a gift. That's why they call it a present, right? It's where there is no fear, right? If you're fearing something right now, you're not actually fully in the present moment, right? So you can get yourself down to the present moment. And I have this saying that I share with everybody, like, be where your feet are. Like, scientifically, I love neuroscience. You can actually look at your feet right now. I'm looking at, I got brown shoes on. I see the floor. Now I see the microphone. Now I see you. Now I'm here at the podcast. I know where I am. There's no other thoughts processing, right? It's a real live meditation to get you present. Staying present is extremely difficult.
It is.
Right? But getting present is just a matter of, like, literally looking at your feet. And that night that you had all this fear of how's tomorrow going to be and the Asian markets are opening up, and it just took a beautiful woman, okay, who was carrying your child, both of your childs, right? She was doing all the work in that case, because they do.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
And cooking and the apartment, and normalize it to allow you to wake up that morning and just be you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's such a beautiful moment to relive.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right.
So thank you. Thank you for giving me the experience to relive it again.
Oh, listen, man, I it's one of the reasons why I love what I do, is because all the technology that we build now, half of it's about giving back. Like, so we donate money for every product that we sell to a No Kids Hungry charity. And that's important to me. But the other part about it is we judge our success in the company by how many smiles we can deliver, right? Because you're reliving these moments, you're smiling, right? Even the sad moments that I relive about my dad who passed, we're smiling about it. Might come with some tears, but you're still smiling. Like, you're just reliving these moments. And we often don't relive the moments because we're just so busy creating new ones and life moves on, that to sit back and be like, hey, wow, okay.
Yeah, appreciating things. It's
Yeah.
going back to appreciation.
Yeah.
The lack of it, that's the problem. Man.
Yeah. So thank God for your wife. Okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes,
Because
yes.
that was a great moment. So I asked all the guests, what's their favorite quote? What's your favorite quote?
So in Spanish is La vida no la enseña nadie, which means, life is not taught by anyone, basically. Gabriel García Márquez was a Colombian writer. He won the Nobel Prize many years ago. So when I first read that quote, I disagreed with it. Because I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, what do you mean life is not taught? Like, of course it is. You learn. People, like my grandparents, like my grandmother, like she told me all these lessons. Like, I wouldn't be able to be where I am without all those lessons. So like, it doesn't make any sense. I don't agree with it. Years later, I reinterpreted it. To kind of look back and say, like, actually, it makes sense. Because, nobody's teaching you anything. You have to live life. You have to go through it. Yes, you see examples and people, share their lives with you and lessons but it's up to you to really learn it. They're not teaching you. You have to learn it.
Right. So life is not taught to anyone, meaning...
It's not taught by anyone.
Not taught by anyone, right. So life is not taught by anyone. Yeah. So all the lessons that come across our way, it's up to us to teach ourselves, right, by learning that lesson. Like, hey, how did I take this moment? What did I learn from this moment? It's just a moment. It's not a teacher. That's actually a very interesting quote. Because I think we're always looking now, especially, right, we look at social media, we look for self-help books, we look for all different ways to be taught something. Like, someone help me, someone help me, someone help me. And as a kid, whatever, in my career, I had no person to go to for help. I've been surrounded by many great people that I've worked with and been part of my team and have always helped me learn things myself, right? Where they didn't teach me. I wasn't taught by them, but I taught myself with them, through them. And I'm so grateful for that, to how I got here today. But when I sit back and think about that quote, it's like, hey, don't miss a moment, right? Be present in that moment. Yeah, be present in that moment because you're learning something. Social media thing can wait, right? You can pick up that phone afterwards. But when you're with another human being, okay, or there's humans around, stop, be present. Because you're being taught something by the universe, by God, whatever your calling is. But you can't learn it if you don't be present.
Exactly.
Yeah.
One of the things I always tell my team, obviously it's a little bit more difficult now post-COVID and the Zoom is so pervasive, which Zoom is great for many different reasons. But before the pandemic, like we had this huge conference room on our floor, and many times we have meetings there. We have a global team, so we always have to dial in, the various different offices. But anyway, so I would find myself seeing people in my team who are like literally a couple of cubicles away from the conference room dialing in. I'm like, what are you doing? The conference room is here. Like,
Yeah.
why are you dialing in? I was like, well, I was like, no, get in there. And what I would try to explain to them, like, that connection that you make with the person you're sitting next to in the conference room, for their 30, 45 seconds that it takes for everybody to congregate, to open up the bridge line, like, you make a connection.
Yeah.
You learn about whatever happens to be. Like, we're not at work to make best friends with everyone, but you make a connection from a different perspective. So now you know that Sally has a daughter that went to the same college that you did. Now you know that Johnny, likes to play basketball. And by the way, you're in the same league. You didn't even know it. So like now, instead of saying, "Hey, how's the weather?" Well, how was the weekend? I was like, "Oh, how was the game on Sunday? Do you make it to the things?" Like, it's a whole different dynamic.
Well, listen, man, you're a math guy like me. Like, chemistry is very similar to math, and what we forget as humans is that we live off chemistry.
That's right.
How did you meet? I always say, like, if I could make glasses, right? If Meta made these glasses, where not just reading your profile and telling me your social media and the rest of it, but if I can see your aura and your chemistry next to another person, and you can see it interact, you be, all right, these two are going to make it, right? The chemistry is there. They're not on a date. They should be on a date because the colors have changed to where this chemistry is real, right? But yeah, like that point, to your point of human to human connection is the most valuable thing that you can do in life that I think most people don't. Whether it's Zoom because we had to, or social media because of these devices, like you get knowledge from two-dimensional stuff, but just like a book, you get nothing compared to what you get to from a three-dimensional experience.
That's right.
Right? That just is sitting next to each other, just the energy in the room in that scenario changes everything. For me, at least, it does.
Yeah. It's like my wife always tells me, like, why do you have to go, like, get on a plane to go have a meeting? I was like, because there is an element of being able to be physically looking at the person in the eye, shaking their hand, having this small talk between the elevator to a conference room, exchanging pleasantries, but also getting to know the person. Like, you don't get to do that over the phone. Like, over the phone, the line opens up and, you say hi and you're pleasant, but there's a lot to be said about in the people business. Like, that's the reason why you do that. Yeah,
listen, when we started this podcast, one of the things that Claudio was very strong on was, and Claudio is the producer of the podcast, he, listen, let's stay in person. Like, it's going to be harder. Yeah. You have a ton of guests and friends and people that I know that are around the world. Right? Yeah. Sure. And at some point, we're going to grab them because they have so much valuable information that I want them to share with the viewers. But the interaction of face-to-face podcast is... There's nothing like it. Nothing like being in the same room and sharing those moments, especially when we're reliving the moments. Like I was in the living room with you and your wife right there at the table. I mean, I can almost taste the food, and she's an amazing cook, so I know what it tastes like. Almost taste the food that she was cooking that night. I could just picture her sitting there, with her little belly popping out.
Big at that point.
It was a big belly, right? She never had a big belly. He said it. I didn't say it, John. It's not me. Okay.
Because of the baby.
But like in person is why I have zero fear of AI taking over the world. It'll change the world.
It would change it, exactly.
But it's not taking over the world.
Yeah, but that's the point. You got to embrace that change. As long as you do, then you're going to be in a better place.
All right, so before we wrap this up, is there anything that you want to share with the audience that you're doing, that you're working on, that you want them to know? And how can they reach you if they wanted to reach out to you?
Well, what I would just say is, one, now that I'm getting to have a little bit more time, what I mean by that is now my oldest one is going to go to college. My youngest one is 2 years away from that. So I do want to spend more time on community type of stuff, charity type of stuff. I'm looking to join a board. I don't want to say the name yet because they're still being vetted to join the board of directors. But I do want to spend more time because looking back, while I love my family and I invest a lot of time with them, which has been amazing, it's been, work and family. That's been it. So I want to do a little bit. I want to be able to give back a little bit more. So that's what I'm trying to do, and do much more now that my daughter's going away, and I'm gonna have a little bit more time.
Okay, so if anybody is thinking about some sort of community-based, charity-based, something, a give-back-based scenario, right? The give-back essence, and they wanted to reach out to you, how can they reach you?
I don't know, should I give you my number? I mean, I guess my
email address, or listen, you can give your phone number out, but knowing all that we know about you now, you're a very popular guy. You might just get a lot awkward text
Yes,
messages. throughout the night.
I will give you my email address if you can just post it. I guess when.
Yep.
Yeah.
We'll post Andres' email address in the YouTube channel when we put it out there,
Yes.
and it'll be in the description. So anyone who wants to reach out to you, they can.
Which people are gonna laugh at me because it's a Yahoo account. My daughters and my wife as well make fun of it. It's like, listen, I created that thing ages ago, and it works. It gives me emails I can send. But
Listen, man.
I don't know how many people have a Yahoo account these days.
Hey, listen, it could have been worse, right? If you would have dropped an AOL account, then it would have been like, okay, all right, he wasn't born in '79. He's lying about that. It was more like '59. Okay, he's rocking AOL, the OG, the original. Yeah,
Exactly.
Well, listen, man, it was a pleasure having you. I'm so grateful you came on. Thank you for that. For everyone else, thank you for sharing your time with us, listening to the podcast, watching the podcast on YouTube. Please remember to like and subscribe. We will pass all Andres' information. And just stay present and help others relive the moments. And remember, sharing is caring.